Blog Talk Radio.
It's time for another ASWIFTT radio broadcast with Brenda Diane Johnson. Sit back and relax with ASWIFTT Radio. Good afternoon and welcome to today's show, Purple Snowflake's Marketing Tips. This is Brenda Diane Johnson, your host here on ASWIFTT Radio. Today I am also joined by Lillian Brumett, who co-authored the book with her husband, Dave Brumett, Purple Snowflake's Marketing, How to Make Your Book Stand Out in the Crowd. The book covers marketing tips such as direct marketing, social media, websites, public relations, and more for your published books and projects. The Brumetts give advice that will take your literary skills to the next level. Lillian Brumett, welcome to ASWIFTT Radio.
Well, hi there. Thanks for having me on your show. This is great to be here.
Thank you, Lillian. And also on today's show, we will discuss marketing tips such as direct marketing, marketing plans, social media, networking, and more. My first question in this discussion is, why did you and your husband decide to create the book, Marketing, How to Make Your Book Stand Out in the Crowd?
Well, we're definitely the self-educating type, very much the motivated in regards to finding out the how-tos before we take on any kind of project. So as business owners in the past, prior to taking on a career in the world of writing, we had owned businesses in the past. And so having had that knowledge already how to run a business, we wanted to start our career in the world of writing in regards to how do we do this, from the office up. And so we took a lot of courses, we did a lot of self-educating. Along the way, we're taking all kinds of notes that we could follow and make use of for ourselves, because you can't always rely on your memory. So, or we can't anyway. So I made sure I was making notes of the most important, paths for us to take. And over time, this developed into this plan. Our business plans and various things, it was all combined into this one written project that I kept referring to, that you're making sure I was following the right track and these kinds of things initially in the beginning of our career. So that actually was the very beginnings of Purple Snowflake. It evolved over time. We've been in this industry for 2.5 decades, both as members of the media, writing book reviews, being staff writers, freelance writers, what have you. Also working on the other side, being published authors as well, looking to get into the media. So we've seen both sides of the table, experienced and studied both sides of the table. And that all evolved over time into this guide that I actually wrote for ourselves. And so every time we published a new book, it not only evolved this particular, written guide for myself, but it was my own personal guide for each book, and it continues to be my own personal guide. So over time, I became like a guru. People were always, sending me questions constantly, on forums and groups and, direct contacts, asking me questions. I was often, interviewed and asked similar types of questions in regards to how to be a writer, how to run your business, how to market and promote. And so I really saw the market out there for it, and it took a while for my confidence in myself, my abilities to be able to say, yeah, this is really something that people are really interested in having, and it's something that I've pretty much already written. I just had to tweak it. So in 2004, we had our first edition go out. It was revised in 2014, and then just recently in May this year, 2021, we did a complete revision of the book, going through each chapter and just totally revising it. And, we took out a lot of the appendices because the hyperlinks that we had there, or the links that we had there, I should say, a lot of things have evolved online. Things aren't available anymore. So we decided to take all of that out, and instead we created a different appendix section that is more evergreen. It doesn't depend on links being live over the years as they go by. And we updated it with a lot of new information. I mean, it's like a decade of information that we've gained, and experience and skills and courses we've taken in e-commerce and SEO and all of this that we have learned over the last, decade since the book was last released. So all of that was added to it and sort of, re-released it. So it's a big, exciting thing for us to have this, back out there and in an updated format.
Wow, Lillian, thank you for that information, and thank you for your response. My next question is, what are some key things that are involved in marketing? According to dictionary.com, marketing is the total of activities involved in the transfer of goods from the producer or seller to the consumer or buyer, including advertising, shipping, storing, and selling. Lillian, can you go over two most used methods in marketing, and why are they popular to use?
Well, okay, so there's direct marketing and there's online marketing. I think that's what you're referring to. So those are two totally different audiences and totally different methods of marketing. Direct marketing is perfect if you actually have an audience already on hand. Maybe you're a speaker, maybe you're a business owner, and your book pertains to the people you've already created a networking relationship with, or you have a way of attaining people, connections with people so that you can market to them directly. This might be, you have a plan to attend business conventions, or, this kind of thing. So you have this direct contact that's either face-to-face or, sometimes phone, it's a direct contact with this individual. Whereas online marketing tends to be a lot broader. So your audience is different. They're a lot. It's a lot more. It's faster. You really have to have like a quick headline, grab them, send them to a resource that's really going to help them, and start creating relationships that way. So it's quite different than direct marketing.
Okay, thank you, Lillian, for that response. I also wanted to just give the definition from dictionary.com as well. According to dictionary.com, direct marketing is marketing direct to the customer, just like you said, as by direct mail, coupon, or advertising. Also, Lillian, can you give two examples, or give an example of direct marketing that authors can use, specifically that authors can use?
Okay, so actually there's a couple I can give them right away. So, go through all your junk drawers and your purses and your wallets and find all of those business cards that you've already garnered from all of these different people that you've already worked with. And from there, try to figure out a way of reaching out to them and letting them know about your current journey, maybe ways that you can network with them, like get really creative in how you're going to make that connection. However, attaining those connections. So that's an area that a lot of people just seem to overlook. So you already have all that information, and then sit down and think about like groups that you're already a part of, people you know on a first name basis, maybe at the library or at the grocery store, or you never know where these connections might pan out into. They know somebody who knows somebody, right? So reaching out to these people is really important in that way. a way that most PR and publicists really want authors to aim for is to attain email addresses. So first you would go through your own address book. You would have your mailing addresses, your email addresses. You would want to utilize all of these contacts that you already have. However, when you're on you're developing your website, you want to make sure that your own email and contact information is there, so that when people reach out to you, and you want to give them a reason to periodically through your marketing plan, when people reach out to you, then now you have that connection, and you can have a plan on how you're going to react to that connection. So it's really important to have your marketing plan in place and really understand what your message is. And you never know what a contact might pan out to be. Like I say you know someone who works at the grocery store, but she might be able to connect you with her boss, who might be able to say, look what, we'll put up your book on the gift section, prior to Christmas season, and we'll see how it goes. So you never know how those types of connections are going to work out. Maybe it's a friend who knows a teacher that, knows the librarian at that school, and you get a book sales that way, maybe some author appearances. You never know where it's going to pan out. So really pay attention to the connections you already have, and also, again, make sure that your connection information is easily available for people to access, and give them a reason to connect with you.
Thank you, Lillian, for that response. My next question is, when should authors, producers, or creators start marketing or advertising their book or product? When should they start doing that?
Okay. So it depends on what they're looking for. If they're looking, say, for reviews that they want to have upon release of the book, then they're going to be creating a book review marketing plan, how they're going to go about their querying, who they're going to query, people, connecting with people that do those types of book reviews prior to the release. But if you're talking about, in general, your book releases, you have a date, when your book is coming out, all of the preliminary stuff has already been done. You're looking at after, post-release. So I would actually really start working on your marketing plan and getting your connections in place, but wait till your book is actually available on the market before you start the mass of your marketing plan. The reason why I say this is sometimes when a book gets released, you get your author copies and you're going, oh no, there's a mistake on this page. You want to be able to correct that and connect, have that ability. Maybe it's published and you realize, geez, that, you get your author copies and, geez, the cover is off a little bit, how they've cut it or something like that. So now you got to talk to your cover designer. It's better to take care of those initial obvious mistakes before you start doing the major promotions. You can do some trickle-in promotions, little early stuff, but the main thing is getting ready for your marketing plan. So before you even try to approach anybody, you want to have everything ready for that stage of your marketing plan prior to going there. So you don't want to connect, say, with a member of the media. Let's say it's a newspaper, but you don't have your biopic available. Maybe you haven't even written your various sized bio lines, your bylines. Maybe you don't have any articles pre-written and they want an article from you, but you have nothing to offer them, and now you have to create it, but you don't have time to. It's really important to have all of that kind of stuff ready. Have you practiced your questions that the media are likely to ask you? These kinds of things are really important to do prior to rushing out and trying to promote your book. Being prepared makes you stand out like a purple snowflake in a snowstorm. Believe me, as a member of the media, there are so many, queries that come in that are, obvious newbies. Their connections with you. You can tell right away almost right away, whether this person is going to be someone you have to walk through the process. It's going to take a lot of your time. They may not be worth, the effort that you're going to put into it, or if this is going to be someone that you really want to work with because they're exciting and they have all their, they have all their stuff together. They look like they're going to be easy to work with. They have all these resources for you. They're good to go. They're ready to go. That's someone that's going to get a lot more attention from the media than the one the one before. So make sure you have everything ready before you launch off into that marketing plan.
Wow. Thanks, Lillian. That's great advice. Lillian, also in your book on page 163, you state, studies prove that advertising can be highly successful if specific criteria have been met. And then the first one you said, you have several products or services to make more efficient use of the ad. Lillian, can you elaborate on that quote for me?
Okay. So when you're looking at doing an advertising campaign, are you timing your campaign around some event that is happening locally or some celebration that's, happens on a calendar like Reptile Awareness Day, which is happening on the 21st of October this month, or something like that, and you want to take advantage of it? You have an angle that you can work that can get you possibly media exposure in that regard. Or because maybe they're doing an article in a magazine that might time in with that. So your timing of your ad to work into these type of celebrations and awareness days means that you're looking at getting into the media, 3 to 4 months in advance. So, this is coming up in October. You want to be working on this in this summer, and, getting the timing of your ad so you can get the placement of the ad in the media, whether it's online or offline. You want to make sure that you're getting the right placement, you're near the ad, the article that they're featuring, something along those lines. So it kind of depends on that as well. But when you're also looking at advertising, paid advertising in particular, you want to look at what is that particular medium's circulation first. How many readerships do they actually have, and what type of readership are they? So this just takes a little bit of time, but it's really worth doing. Look into the magazine or newspaper or whatever it is that you're going for. Let's say it's a magazine, and you want to look in and say, okay, well, what is their circulation? What does that circulation reach? Is it, say, a regional thing? Just in general, we're reaching, the outskirts of New York City? Or is it a highly targeted, we're only reaching people that go to health food stores and they get this magazine, they opt in, they pick up that magazine at the cashier. So these are people who are really interested in the topic of the magazine. It's not like mailed to them and becomes junk or something like that. Then you have a highly targeted audience of a certain particular topic. So depending on your focus, you want to make sure that your ad goes for that. So, okay, in a scenario where you're going to be producing a book event in the outskirts of New York City, then that publication might be just the one to do. But if maybe you have a health book that is, full of nutritional information, and you want to target people that are only interested in that, then it's most effective to make sure that you go to the right audience, the right magazine audience. So pay attention to that circulation. Even if the circulation in the health magazine is only 5,000, whereas the other one might have 150,000, but are they your audience? Is it the most effective use of your dollar? So pay attention to little things like that.
Thank you, Lillian, for that response. My next question is, in your opinion, Lillian, what are the 2 most successful social media outlets for marketing and advertising, and why?
Okay, so social media tends to be a group, like an umbrella name these days. At one point, social media referred to simply like e-zines and e-bulletins and e-newsletters and direct mail campaigns and blogging, whereas social networking was strictly Facebooks and LinkedIn's and Instagrams and, Pinterest and all those TikToks and all those different, there's literally 1,000 or more of them online, and but they all have their own audience as well, and how you utilize those particular social networking sites as well. So they are two separate things, although for these days most people have them under the one umbrella name, social media, even though there's many different types of outlets there. So I think you're referring to social networking. And so in that regards, which audience it is really depends on your particular audience. So if maybe LinkedIn, for instance, is often business to business. So if you're wanting to network with other people that work in the writing industry, that would be the place that you would go for that particular thing, right? So, and each one of these social networking sites, even the small ones, like, say, Alignable, which is a fairly small one, it's actually very effective for networking within your genre, within your field. You can network with both nonprofit and other businesses and small entrepreneurial businesses, and you can find all these networking connections that way through Alignable. And it's actually fairly small compared to, say, a Facebook or an Instagram, right? But so I would say, explore all the ones that are available to you. Give them a chance, fill out the profiles, connect with the people there, see what kinds of things really appeal to you, because you just never know what's going to work, and it changes all the time. So one year you might be going, geez, this Facebook Live chat thing is really working for me. And then all of a sudden the interest in that fades out, because it changes all the time. So, but then something else happens. Maybe your Instagram thing or your YouTube thing is taking off. So explore all different things, keep connecting with these different things and see what's working for you. If you're finding that is working for you at this moment, really pursue it. Work the heck out of that, but don't be afraid to keep your fingers dipped into other things, and so you're connected to a wide array of audiences. Now, on somewhere like Facebook, I think Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays are your peak post days. However, that is just generally speaking. You might find that your audience is lunch hour traffic, and when somebody's having their lunch break at work, that's the audience that you want to really get their attention. Well, then your timing for that would be that you would look at the different time zones, and you would make sure that you're online on that particular site that's targeting them during their lunch hours. So it doesn't necessarily, that general, Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturday, doesn't necessarily apply to you, your unique situation. So really consider your unique situation, your particular audience that you're trying to get it, and just to get out there and explore and have fun with it. Don't be afraid to try even the smaller ones or some of the newer ones maybe that you're thinking, geez, I don't know if I'm, able to do all of the different options on that particular social networking site. That's okay. Just get on there and start, get your fingers in there and be there, be active. The more you're online, the better.
Thank you, Lillian. Great advice. My next question is, what are some areas where people fail when it comes to marketing? Why do you think people fail when it comes to marketing?
Tenacity and organization. I think you have to be successful as a writer. You have to be tenacious. You have to be passionate. You can't just be passionate for a month or 3 months or a year and give up. It's something that you're going to be committing to. It's your baby. It's your love. And so having that passion and that is really important, and a realistic view of the life as a writer. So you want to have your contingency plans and your succession plans, and you want to look at how you're going to be marketing this book in a realistic way. What is your unique situation this year, for the next 5 years, foreseeable 5 years? And then every year you go in and you say, okay, of this 5-year plan, what am I going to try to do this year? You break it down into monthly sort of schedule for yourself. Don't worry if it doesn't quite fit, you don't quite get everything done, or maybe you get distracted because something takes a priority, but have a plan that you can follow, that you can check back on and say, this didn't work for me. Why didn't this work for me? Oh, yes, I still have this to pursue. These kinds of things are very valuable to have on hand. It sounds maybe a little more on the business side than writers are thinking they have to be, but you are a business. You have to think of yourself as a business, run your office as if you're a business. A lot of people will get to what they call the honeymoon period. So this can be 6 to 8 to even 12 months after the book is initially released. The date it is released and allowed, people can buy it, to that amount of time, up to 12 months past. They call it the honeymoon period because that's the time when most of your direct contacts and your initial budget is spent, and authors often give up at that point. That's the give up point, 6 months to a year after a book is released, because they feel exhausted. They haven't created a long-term plan that paces things out better for them, and they run out of ideas or connections and that kind of thing. And so it just comes to a standstill. And then that's when they start going, gee, I got to hire a publicist or something like that. In some cases, yes, you do. It really depends on your unique situation. However, having a marketing plan and a long-term marketing plan is really the key.
Thank you, Lillian, for that advice. I also want to add that research and consistency are the key factors in marketing. Doing the research to find out what advertising method works best for your product and using that method consistently will eventually yield positive results. My next question, Lillian, in your book on page 171, you give frugal advertising tips. In your opinion, what is the most cost-effective marketing method that people can use who don't have a lot of money? If you can share with us at least one of the cost-effective marketing strategies.
Okay, so press releases, doing some promotional articles, and by promotional articles, I mean you're writing about a topic. You're not selling your book in the article. You're not selling yourself in the article, but you're making an article that is compelling, that is print-worthy, and it's something that you give to the media, you give to the blogs and other types, newsletters, various types of publications. But the reason why you do that is that article is also published along with your byline. Your bio is there, a little blurb about you, your website that you're leading them to, or your newsletter you're asking them to sign up for, whatever the link is that you're wanting to promote at that time in your byline, that is in there. You want to have, at least 13 of those articles and a few completed interviews before you even approach the media. That is something you definitely want to have in hand. It's free. You can go on to free article distribution sites and upload your articles there and get, attention from a variety of different kinds of publications. People that you don't even have connection with are just randomly finding your articles that way. That's a great way to go. Also, make use of your local bulletin boards. I mean, that is often an overlooked, old school, underground, grassroots type of marketing that is often overlooked, and yet it is so effective. But if you do it correctly, when you're there at the bulletin board, really take a look at what other people have done, examine what you think stands out, what doesn't stand out, and then go home and think how you're going to stand out among them. Is a bright yellow or a bright blue triangle or a circle shape. Maybe you want to laminate yours so it stays on the board or the window where you're getting it posted up, where if you've attained space, it'll stay up there longer, it'll endure weather or moisture in the air or anything like that. I mean, there's ways of making your free and frugal marketing much more effective by looking at each step like that. Another thing is bookmarks. Gosh, that's a really great gift to give away. It has to be something beautiful. You don't want your bookmark to be only promotional. Make it beautiful and have like your URL on the reverse side or something like that. Make it something people want to use. That's another free and not exactly free, because you do have to get them printed, but you distribute them in all different kinds of ways. We show you how in our book, and that's one of the most effective ways of paid advertising is getting bookmarks produced.
Thank you, Lillian, for that response. And Lillian, did you have any last-minute words that you want to share with our audience, and can you give your contact information for those who want to contact you?
Oh, yes. Thank you for that. Well, our main website is brummet.ca, Canada. So Brummet, BRUMMET, media.ca is where people can find us. Of course, if you just do an internet search with our name, Lillian or Dave Brummet, you'll find pages of information on us. But I would encourage people to do that. I have a couple of great resources, like our blog, for instance, consciousdiscussions.blogspot.com. That's consciousdiscussions.blogspot.com. When you go there, there are thousands of articles, because literally I've been publishing this blog for decades. So just go there and look through the archives. Put in the search box any kind of topic that you're searching on, whether it's green living, alternative energy, or the world of writing, any aspect of the world of writing at all. You can find interviews with agents, and you can find articles and all kinds of resources there. I have a monthly blog post that goes out around the middle of the month. This is also another free service where people can go, and it has all kinds of resources for writers there, links to great interviews, that kind of thing. Hope they check that out. It comes out around the middle of every month on that blog. And of course, if they go to the About This blog page, they'll find out ways that we can network, where they can find some of our articles. They'll find out how they can submit to the blog or query for an interview, or things like that. I'm really into networking and connecting with people, so feel free to reach out to us.
Thank you, Lillian, for that response. Our show has now come to a close. I hope you enjoyed the show and gained knowledge while listening to Purple Snowflake Marketing Tips. Continue to check www.blogtalkradio.com/ASWIFTT Radio for upcoming shows, or you can email us direct at aswiftradionews@yahoo.com to give us feedback on the show. Thank you again for tuning in and listening, and always remember Psalms 119:105. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. This is Brenda Diane Johnson here on ASWIFTT Radio.